Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
You know, I'm Aaron.
And this is Seeking Media Productions. Bring you another movie review.
This time we're going to be tackling yet another Christopher Nolan project.
And I'll say, based on everything that happened in 2020, Warner Brothers should be given a lot more credit than the type of problems and backlash they have been getting as of late.
That is true because other than the rest of the studios that's out there, Warner Brothers has been taking major chances on projects that, you know, right out the gate would have been risky for anybody else to produce. But yet it's entirely other thing when no one else is out there taking a chance on their own projects and giving something out to the consumers to try and help themselves compete in a very challenging studio releasing season and year.
And the movie in question is Tenet. Now, Christopher Nolan is, by no stranger, a person who is who's pretty much obsessed with the theatrical experience. And ever since that he was given the chance for Warner Brothers to do his Batman trilogy way back in 2005, he essentially just been doing major blockbuster releases. And the reason why he has such a very strong brand in of itself is because he prides himself, and a lot of audiences really rally for him, is that he's able to make massive blockbusters with an intellectual edge to him.
I can't say that I personally was looking forward to this film. I mean, there was stuff that was interesting into it, but I've definitely been very vocal, and you have as well on this channel, about how confusing the campaign for this particular film was.
Just look at our trailer bait for it.
We didn't know what the heck to expect when going into this film, and having finally watched it, I'm still scratching my head.
And it is a difficult film to process as far as story-wise.
I mean, most of this film centers itself around this character known as the protagonist. And this individual is like a
spy.
Well, spy slash like soldier as kind of individual, mercenary more likely. Not even mercenary. I don't know. It's kind of
he works in the deep trenches in the and behind the scenes
of the government. He's definitely a governmental figure that is definitely set in for like wet work type of situations. And he gets inducted into this special program to try and take on this new threat that's going to be suggested to be the start of what would be essentially the next World War.
Mm-hmm. And with this this new plot of a new upcoming threat, he basically essentially has a major sci-fi component, and based on the trailers, is some form of type of inversion like situation where she's mainly based on time manipulation.
Exactly. Something that's like right up Nolan's alley, because this is a director that loves playing with the concept of time. And that's all throughout this film.
Yeah, it's very unique, at least in a visual sense of how he wants to approach time this time around. But it's something that's very Nolan specific because time is as of right now has been a very constant idea and as a just narrative device that he has been using. But this time around, this is a first for Nolan in his long filmography career, is that he basically essentially cast a person of color in the lead role.
True. By
the form of John David Washington.
And for the most part, he does his job. He's a charismatic individual, but I feel as though something that definitely is a problem with probably Nolan's direction, more so than it is Washington's portrayal of this in this particular role, is that it leaves a lot to be desired as far as what's more what the audience can get more out of him, what's his background, what was really his drive for doing what he is doing.
Yes, and with the whole story of how this movie is a very plot-driven story. So,
exactly.
And the way and how, especially in the first 2/3 of this film, is very rapid pace on mainly through dialogue and how it wants to tell its exposition of what goes on to all the content of the film.
Probably to a more detrimental role, because in my opinion, I don't like it when a film has to spend time to literally sit down and tell you what's going on rather than possibly show what's really going on. As if this main focus for Nolan was trying to explain the concept of his time manipulation than it was to actually just let the audience experience it in and of itself and allow that to be the teacher.
One film that comes to mind upon discussing our review is very structurally wise. This film bears a lot more similarities to a more smaller scale film directed by Ryan Johnson by the name of Looper, in which it in itself is in a way a time travel like film.
Very much so.
But some of those elements, especially with subplot and how it till a
like
later
time was like
point.
literally like it wasn't like the main focus, but it definitely was a concept that was heavily used to emphasize what's going on, what the characters were having to deal with. But the movie itself let itself be told through the perspectives and the experiences of those characters. You got a good sense of who they were and why the stakes were high for them.
Yes, and going back to the characters of Tenet and a little bit more comparison on Looper is how Looper tended to be more of a very character, how he was able to visually express what the characters' motivations, personalities, and struggles were,
Exactly.
as opposed to the characters in this film basically telling you what they're all about and stuff.
Exactly.
It's get very.
It was all reactionary. Everybody in this film, probably except for maybe two characters, one of them being played by Robert Pattinson, and the other one by the
Elizabeth Debicki,
who played the wife of one of the characters
the main
in this
lead.
film. Yeah, the main female lead in this film.
Yeah.
Those two characters, aside from them, everybody else was pretty much reactionary or just brought in to explain a particular situation for that one point in time, and then that was it.
Mm-hmm. And Elizabeth Debicki's role, she serves essentially the most emotional crux of the film.
Yeah.
But due to her being more associated to to another character played by Kenneth Branagh, who's essentially like a one-note character, especially once you see the film and through his motivations,
Exactly.
it does not resonate as well. And with Robert Pattinson and John David Washington being almost like a duo like scenario, there is chemistry there between the two. It's just unfortunately, for better or worse, Robert Pattinson's character is not necessarily in the film as much as the film probably should have had.
Or the trailers really emphasizes that he was going to be throughout the whole film. It's like, no, he's not really. Not really.
No. He's literally there when John David Washington's character needs something to do, and he's like there to tag along.
Exactly.
There is a greater sense of production that the film does able to have, and essentially reason why Christopher Nolan tends to do these massive big blockbusters.
Yeah, there's always going to be some type of really grand spectacle in these particular projects, and definitely there were quite a few in this one. But I definitely do got to say that even though there were spectacles in here, nothing in this movie really truly stood out to me or was necessarily all that great as some of his past work. I mean,
there is a lot, like, for every type of film that he's been doing since he was able to do his Batman trilogy, is that he wanted to showcase action in a very different light.
Exactly.
And usually it's like once he found IMAX, he wants to go as big as possible. But there's still some form of restraint that it holds back from really getting into the more intensive nature of what an action scene should be able to showcase. Now, in this film, John David Washington was probably most likely, well, actually, it is not most probably, it is the reason why he was cast in this film is because there is a clear sense of physicality that John David Washington was able to bring to the table. Like, for some reason, for now, Christopher Nolan looks like he finally discovered a Steadicam for this film. So a lot more, he's able to actually move around, follow his character, doing a lot of these more physical stunts that not a lot of his previous films was able to showcase.
And that's very much welcomed here. I actually did enjoy seeing the actual direction and the attention given towards certain fight scenes or certain particular vast action sequences. there just wasn't enough for me though to in those scenes that made me stand out and say, wow, that's amazing, nobody else done that before. And I can definitely see that this was the reason for me to go out to a movie to go watch.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, are there moments in this film where I was like, okay, this would be better on the screen? Yeah, I guess you could say that. But at the same time, I also found myself at the end of it feeling like, you know what? I'm okay having watched this at home.
Yeah, we didn't pay for it, to put in mind.
Yeah, we definitely did pay for it. So,
but on a real price.
Exactly.
But even then, so much of it is mainly because of his time manipulation. And it's like, for the most part, it is stuff in just reverse, and from a production sense.
Exactly.
But it like, you will get, like, hopefully the audiences might get turned off because of it is a very different look to it than what you are usually opposed to seeing as if something was done in real time.
Exactly.
But what doesn't basically something that I feel as though is not at fault in this film is Ludwig Göransson's score. Something that Christopher Nolan, who's mainly worked with Hans Zimmer in the past, he brings in somebody new to do the music. And this person is highly talented, mainly the fact that he's Oscar-winning score for Black Panther, now Emmy Award winner with The Mandalorian, and I fell over work because he's been doing Creed and other Ryan Coogler's work. But for him, he's able to essentially take the time theme of the inversion process of what the film is all striving to be and incorporate into a score that he's able to use. All of his tracks are in a way inverted themselves. And it also helps tell the story in a lot more better. It helps, at least helps supports it as if the film, like sometimes the dialogue or sometimes the visuals can't really do.
Which, unfortunately, at the end of the day, is what usually matters most. And I mean, the visuals is the things that's really going to make people sit down and watch these films. And which ultimately throws us to give this movie just an okay rating. It could have been better. It was plenty. There was a better story here. I just feel as though Christopher Nolan didn't take or at least I feel as though he probably put way too much thought into one particular aspect and didn't give enough to the rest of it.
I think ever since his brother, who usually worked with him in the past outings, they kind of complement each other through their writing styles, in which but as you can see, they probably once those two are not together, i.e. Westworld, like there is a clear disconnect as to how to visually convey what is written on the script.
You need your yes and no people, and you also need direction, and you need balance and checks. There has to be checks and balances no matter what you do. And obviously, if you don't got your dream team together, the project will suffer, and it won't be made to fruition. And this is a clear case why.
But there you have it. That was our review for Tenet.
Guys, if you like this review, please like, share, and subscribe. And please hit that little bell at the bottom for notifications so we can give you more content just like this.
My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
Please be sure to comment below. We want to hear your thoughts. What are your favorite Christopher Nolan movies so far?
And hopefully we can see in the new year more movies to come soon. See you guys later.
All right.